Let's bring in Mr. Doherty into this mix. So you heard Mr. Duro. He's saying that why spend 96 billion naira? And that's just for 1 month. When you do that in 6 months, that's about 576 billion, if I get the maths right. He's saying, why use this? Why give this money out, as grant when you can use it to invest in small businesses? We understand that this money has already, been appropriated, and this administration may not have, the liberty to tweak it. They say the World Bank will have you use the money they're borrowing you for what you have borrowed it for. But do you agree with him that moving forward, we should think of interventions, that makes more economic sense than handing out cash?
In as much as I will agree with Mr. Duru, I will let Mr. Duru realize that this is a definitive palliative. And this palliative has to do with the oil subsidy removal, which effect is on transportation. And if you look at the breakdown of the palliative, we are having 500 billion budgeted for transfer at 8,000 naira per month to 12 million homes. And I want to let you understand that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not do things without getting its means of transfer or its means of audits clear for Nigerians. And if you look at it, we are talking about definitive palliative here, which means that it's supposed to be a palliative that will cushion the effect of transportation. The one you're talking about on SMEs, those are very important. Those are very important help that Nigerians need, and I believe those will come. Those will come in months to come.
But Mr. Doherty, if we break this conditional transfer down a little, 8,000 naira for a household, that's like 267 naira per day. You are in Abuja right now, and I know that there's no way you fit into the category of the poorest of the poor. But how much really can 267 naira do for the poorest in the hill?
Nifemi, you see, trying is better than not doing anything at all. Let me give you an example. When we got into the energy crisis in the United Kingdom, the government gave palliative to every home. And those palliatives did not come in form of cash to individual, but it came in form of reducing and paying a particular percentage of your energy bill. That ran for 6 months. Then you have the local council too, paying cash to individual home, even though some paid £100, some paid £200. We know that those monies will not sustain or will not even let the pain off. But the thing is that for those particular period, it's really solved a bit of problems. If you don't have it at all, the pain is much on every citizen. Look at the breakdown of this palliative. We have 100 billion that will be spent on road infrastructure. If our road is good, that means food will come from the rural area to urban cities, so people will be able to buy affordable food products. If you look at for Ministry of Agriculture, 19 billion, what is that supposed to do? To cushion the effect, to help the farmers to be able to put more effort, to be able to add more to their production and have a very great harvest, so that people can. All we are talking about.
All right. Let me just jump in quickly. About
making life more meaningful at this period. Nigerians.
The breakdown you're talking about, Mr. Doherty, is the 819.5 billion naira from the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act, which is different from the $800 million that Senate has now approved that federal government should borrow from the World Bank. But let me quickly bring Mr. Duru into this conversation. When you look at the details of this loan, according to the World Bank, they say it is a high concessional loan that will span about 30 years, and the interest rate is as low as 2.5% per annum. There's even a space of between 8 and 10 years where there is initial grace period, for Nigeria to pay back. With all of these details, would you say perhaps it's not as bad as social media think it is?
Okay, quickly, I am not a fanatic of whatever it is that social media says. I look at the empiricals. That's why I'm an economist. I look at the facts, and then I look at the economic implications of every action or reaction or inaction on the part of both the citizenry and the government. This is what I look at. And I want to clearly state this. If we told this same line that the previous administration took, we will only succeed in widening the trust gap between the citizenry and the government. And I think it is too early in the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to engage itself or to find itself in this kind of waters. And then let me also point this very clear. Mr. Doherty spoke about the UK and the palliative measures. I also want to point out that in the US, there is what we call unemployment claims, where citizens who are either not gainfully employed and all that get palliative measures from the government. But these are societies where we have complete database of the citizenry. In Nigeria today, we don't have anything of such. If anything at all of this nature is to be done, the first thing I expect Mr. Doherty, who is an integral part of this government, to be advising the president is, as a matter of urgency, engage in national census now to ascertain number one, the actual population of Nigeria, the regional population of Nigeria, the demographic population of Nigeria, how many people are youths, how many people are adults, how many people are poor, how many people are rich, how many people are gainfully employed, and all of this. When we can ascertain this number, then whatever it is that we want to do as conditional cash transfer or whatever, whether electronic or whichever means, we know we are getting to the right sources. If you're telling me that there will be audit trails and all that, how do we define who is a poor man? How do we define who cannot? You just mentioned something that it amounts to 260 naira a day. I mean, what does that do?
All right.
Where I am going.
We're running out of time now. I perhaps we agree that what you're saying is in the long term because the national census leadership met recently with Mr. President, and he also endorsed that position that the census is in view and should come up in a matter of months. But the question on the minds of many Nigerians is what does the federal government give in short term? And we also have to let the people know that this isn't the original idea of this administration. It was carried over, from the previous Federal Executive Council. But gentlemen, we have to leave now. Mr. Doherty, very quickly, let me have your final thoughts on this development.
What I would tell Nigerians is, please, you have to be patient. It's rough. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's feeling the pain. But I can tell you, after the darkness, there is the light. The president is ready. The president will do everything to make sure that Nigerians live their life and Nigerians will enjoy in the coming months. Nigerian, we are in it. A renewed hope is here, and the mandate is already set.
All right.
On the road.
Mr. Iberi, your final thoughts. Are you as optimistic as well?
Yes, the last thing anybody can do for Nigeria today is not to be optimistic about Nigeria and not to believe in the Nigerian dream, irrespective of whoever appears to be our president. The onus is on us as the citizens to come together to build our nation. But in doing that, we also need our leaders to encourage us to do this, to show good leadership. So that is where I am anchoring this on. And I want to remind the president that nothing is cast in stone. Right. If this was a carryover from the previous administration, please sit down with your cabinet. Let us have the ministers come in, sit down with them and see how we can think around this and get these funds more productive for both the nation, for both you, and then we see how we can get these monies back to World Bank and then get Nigeria's ships stabilized.
That's our time. Talking about cabinet, Mr. President now has about 13 more days to send that list to the National Assembly. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your contribution. Project Management Consultant, Chairman APC UK Chapter, Tunde Doherty, Economist and Public Affairs Analyst Ebere Duru. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.